Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on the Experts Insight, Current Research and Developments in Management, Procurement and Law. I'm your host today. My name is Amy Zhang from Emerald Publishing Marketing Team. Nice to meet you all. Before we start our session today, I would like to share some reminder with everyone to make sure that everyone has a smooth experience during the session. So first, if you are having any issues with your sounds, please check your audio options and by clicking the settings, and you can check your audio options. And please note that all attendees' microphones are muted. And also, if you are having any questions that you wanted to ask presenters, please leave them into the question tab. And we will try to answer as many as questions that we can during the Q&A time. And please note that this session will be recorded, and we will share the recording along with the attendance certificates within the post email, and within the 3 hours after the session ends. So these are the reminder that I have, and we hope you enjoy today's session. And before I move on to the agenda, I would also like to mention that in today's session, also joined by my colleague Rosita Nordin. She is also from the regional marketing team. She oversees the East Asia region, and she will be helping with the Q&A session. So Ju, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. It is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much for being here to support the event. And now I'm going to walk through the agendas. So now I just share some housekeeping notes, and I will be introduce the Emerald publications as well as the presenters and the journals for these sessions. And I will pass the floor to our presenter today, Professor Emuze, and he will share his insights around 35 minutes. And after that, we will have a Q&A session around 25 minutes. So this webinar will be around 1 hour long. Okay. So just a little bit of Emerald Publishing. We were founded back in 1967, and we were mainly focusing on the business management. However, in recent years, we decided to expand our scopes. So actually we focus and then acquire the ICE publishings in recent years. And we actually is a leading provider of the content and for the global researchers and practitioners in civil and environmental engineering and material science. We also have 36 peer-reviewed journals and over 1,600 books. And we also have the archive of over 38,000 research articles dating back to 1836. With the extensive history that forefront of civil engineering, we actually now we are having the world war impact and a golden standard references for industry and academia. We also involved in the famous historical structures, including the Burj Khalifa and Panama Canal. Now, let me introduce one of our key journals, the Proceeding of the Institution of Civil Engineering and in Management, Procurement and Law. This journal is CIB encouraged and the published awards-winning paper. It covers a unique but focus on the multiple fields, really diving into the management, procurement, and legal aspects of delivering built environments around the world. And it's designed to appeal to both academic and practitioner, publishing their theoretical insights, empirical research, and real-world case studies. You will find a worldwide geographic diversity in its papers, which really enriches the perspective it offers. And we are very honored to have our Professor Emuze today to give us a speech. But before that, I would also wanted to mention that this webinar actually with the help with Dr. Rahimi, and he helped with us to connect with the Dr. Emuze. So Dr. Rahimi, do you wanted to say hi to everyone?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Amy. I hope everyone enjoys the session from Prof. Emuze. Yeah, hope we can learn together. Thank you.
Okay, so next, I'm very pleased to introduce the editor-in-chief of this journal and our distinguished speaker today, Professor Fidelis Emuze. The professor of the instructions in construction science and management at the Department of Engineering Technology, Texas State University. He is also a visiting professor and a former head of the Department of Built Environments at the Central University of Technology, Free State, South Africa. His primary research interests including lean construction, health, safety, and sustainability. He is a C-rated research recognized by the National Research Foundation with over 350 research outputs, more than 25 awards, and 21 doctoral graduates under his supervision. Professor Emuze is the editor of Value and Waste in Lean Constructions and Valuing People in Constructions, and the co-editor of the titles such as Construction's Health and Safety in Developing Countries, Construction Safety, Health and Well-being in the COVID-19 Era, and the Handbook of the Drivers of the Continuous Improvement in Construction Health, Safety, and Well-being. He is also the co-author of several important publications, including Training Within Industry Jobs Program for Improved Construction Safety, Moving the Construction Safety Climate Forward in Developing Countries, and Unpacking the Decent Work Agenda in Construction Operation for Developing Countries. He is also the author of the Construction Safety Packet Books for South Africa. With academic qualification in civil engineering, construction management, and higher education, he has proposed and led the development of 10 accredited university qualifications in South Africa. Currently, Professor Emuze serves as the international coordinator of CIBW 123 People in Constructions and is the editor-in-chief of the journal Proceeding of the ICE Management, Procurement and Law. Professor Emuze, we are truly honored to have you with us today, and now I will pass the floor over to you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Rosita, and thank you, Dr. Raimi, for having me. It's indeed an honor to be here today. And if you allow me to share my presentation, Amy.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Can we all see my slides?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you very much. Let's go. Thank you everyone for having me. As Amy have just said, thank you so much for a fascinating introduction. Um, it was a fascinating one. My name is Fidelis. I like to be called Fidelis or Professor E. As Amy have said, I have the privilege of serving as the editor-in-chief of Management, Procurement and Law for some time now. And the title of our short talk today is Expert Insights, looking at the current research and development through the lens of this IC journal. Once more, at least from my side, let me welcome you heartily to this Emery Publishing and webinar on the topic. And I'm excited to take you on this journey because I'll be talking about what we've been doing, the impact of the publications that we've been fortunate to have in management, procurement, and law, and also how we are shaping um, the, the, the landscape concerning architecture, engineering, and construction, um, higher education, as well as practice. So my short agenda in the slide will be very, very, very short. Amy has done a good job of presenting the illustrious heritage of the journal through Emirate and the Institute of Civil Engineers. So I'll not dwell so much on it, but I'll talk a bit of it with one slide or thereabout. Then I will present our editorial structure and the implication and the impact that structure is having. I will also use that opportunity to invite our friends, our colleagues on this platform if they want to join us to take the journal forward. I'll share some of the metrics of the journal. I'll also spotlight, and I think that's the main reason why we are here, some of our important research, our award-winning papers, and the thematic areas in which the journal has been making strides. Then I will underline the fact that we do not just promote citation in terms of how many people are citing or downloading the journal, but we also look at policy and industry relevance of what we publish and how they are used, either by government agencies or by government itself or by industry practitioners to change industrial policy or work method. And once we are done, I'll open the floor for Q&A. As Amy has said, ICE Journal became part of the Emirate brand a couple of years ago, but I needed to, as a civil engineer, I needed to highlight the fact that ICE, the Institute of Civil Engineer, started in 1818. And like myself, that's outside the UK, we are close to 20% outside the UK practicing either in academia or in the industry or as consultant or the case may be. We are almost 100,000 members worldwide. And IC started publishing as far back as 1836. MPL, Management, Procurement and Law, is just one of the publications of the IC. I have the opportunity to add to what Amy have said in terms of introducing the journal. The journal started off with IC interest in looking at the intersection between construction management and contract law about 4 to 5 decades ago. And over time, it has now evolved to a global brand, a global platform for sharing management, procurement, and law practice and theory and also research that has implications for infrastructure that we deliver and the built environment. In particular, most of the contributors, as well as the users of the publications that come through the journal, are researchers, scholars like some of us on this platform, on this call, practitioners and policymakers working for government and NGOs. We publish 4 issues annually, and in every one of those issues, there is always an article or 2 that is free that can for people to look at. CAQ, for example, that we expect will shape the narrative concerning a particular area uh, uh, of interest. All right, I'm not going to repeat myself. The editor. I'm based here in the States. This is the structure of our editorial board, and I decided to share this for you to know how our coverage is. We have sectional editors. Riza Rewan, she is actually a practitioner, and she's an attorney of, somebody very, very good in law and expert. We also have Stuart Ross that assists. Ross works for Arab, a global, though he's based in the UK, but he has worked also in Asia as well. He is a civil engineer and as well a lawyer. So we have got a team that is made up of both academics and practitioners. In terms of our editorial board, we have members from Europe, Africa, North America, and Asia. Some the academics are from diverse backgrounds. You have civil engineers, architects, construction managers, quantity surveyors amongst the panel, which brings quite a rich expertise into how we analyze and review papers that are accepted in terms of contribution and novelty. So we have academics and industry and legal practitioners amongst us. So the multidisciplinary perspective that we have in the panel really allow us to push the frontiers when it comes to the management, procurement, and law aspects of the publication that we publish, the papers that we publish. The global makeup that you are looking at on your screen allows us to accommodate cutting-edge multidisciplinary research while remaining rooted in practical application. I needed to emphasize practical application. As someone, myself, before I became a full-time academic, I spent years working in 2 different countries on construction projects, both civil engineering and bidding project. So the goal of this one of the goals of this journal is we want to see good science that make a difference in the society or in the industry. It can be policy changes, it can be changes in method, but we want to see application. So the makeup of our editorial board reflect our mission to connect global or international insight with local challenges. So it positions us as thought leaders in the area. And my next slide shows you why we need to do that. We have top papers that have won award. The first paper addresses the use of virtual reality for safety and health in a tunneling project. So in that particular article alone, we have case studies where we can see lesson learned in using technology to save life and ensure that people do not get out on that project. And it won best prize for ICT and GIS. Those are the kind of research that we are publishing and the kind of research that we want to see, where technology interacts with human to make progress. Then there's a paper also that I particularly like reading because one of my areas, just as Amy has mentioned, is health and safety. Understanding and learning from failure. written by a great friend that have done so much in health and safety, Simon Smith, incidentally my predecessor as editor-in-chief of Management, Procurement and Law. If you want to see the origin of failure that can lead to accident, you can look at that paper. So it was not a surprise that he won that prize in this current year, 2025. Then we also see a paper on reporting pre-construction services in New Zealand, winning an award. We also have this 2024 paper that won an award for safety. It's about something that is a global phenomenon that we must tackle, a culture of suicide that is prevalent, is a silent killer in the industry, and whether in the US or in South Africa that previously worked. So you have papers that are addressing topical issues being published. Then the last paper, the cross-read paper, is really a case study unpacking 7 lessons learned in that particular mega project in the UK. These are topical papers that are award-winning papers that are shaping narratives in the industry. Then, when it comes to the trend, we have, because of the name, Management, Procurement and Law, that deals with project delivery and decision making in construction management and the likes. We have digital transformation, including predictive analytics. In the next slide, I'll talk a bit more on it. Then we have topics around lean construction, lean design, lean procurement being published in the journal, because the journal is also focused on sustainability. I can flag about 3 or 4 sustainable development goals that our papers are linked to. Our papers are linked to SDG 3, good health and well-being. Our papers are linked to SDG 9, innovation and infrastructure. That is not a surprise. It's linked to housing. We are published on housing, SDG 11. We publish on consumption, SDG 12. We also publish on climate action. So these are areas when it comes to sustainability that we have published, and we continuously encourage submissions, contributions from those areas. Then we also publish on anything that has to do with workforce. In the next couple of slides, you will see some examples of what I mean by that. Because inherently, either in developed country or developing country, the construction work or the construction process or construction practice cannot be done completely end to end without the workforce, the human input. So we always encourage people from the workforce how we can upskill and develop ourselves. And we have had special issues in management, procurement and law on this particular team. Even in 2025, we have had 2 issues. Then we have trend on model of construction, offsite construction, as it affects quality, as it affects safety and other things. And because of the law pillar of the journal, we also encourage, and we have seen construction law quarterly topics of smart contract negotiation, blockchain integration, and the use of IT in construction as well. So we MPL, Management, Procurement and Law, we can say clearly that we have showcased case studies, either rail projects or infrastructure projects, building projects. We have case studies. So if you are someone that is looking for good case study on what has worked before and what has not worked in a concise manner, because our articles are always maximum 500 and 500 words. 5,500 words, you find that in Management, Procurement and Law. We have lesson learned in operations on PPP projects in Asia. We have lesson learned in construction and civil projects in Europe and Africa and Middle East, rail projects, especially from the UK, Crossray, I just shared that he won an award in 2023. So we have case studies that are available, and we also encourage case studies so that we can share, lesson learn, and do engender continuous improvement. Now, I mentioned the fact that we do a lot of we do publish papers on digital transformation. Part of it has to do with artificial intelligence. Our current call for special issues on artificial intelligence and the future of construction projects. Then we have papers on data analytics. We encourage papers on blockchain for contracts because of the law pillar of our journal, and any aspect of project management that digital technology can transform. We encourage papers on it. Even we have papers on wearable technology for health and safety. Some papers are published on that in the 2024 issue of the journal. So these are the hot topics currently as we speak that we are here. These papers are hot in the sense that they are recently published in 2025, but they are seeing increased download. The first one is from construction law, the future of approved inspectors, liable or not liable. You don't want to go to work and begin to think about the liability. So a lot of download is occurring with that paper. Then we also have papers that has to do with the workforce. For example, the systematic review of barriers and attraction strategy for female in construction, and the experience of women in construction, craft people apprenticeship in Nigeria. Both papers, incidentally, are part of the special issue on apprenticeship that we had in 2025 in MPL, in Management, Procurement and Law. Then we also have how engineering and technology sectors are derailed by legislation, a case study from Pakistan. That paper unpack what we should try to avoid, especially in developing countries, so that engineering and technology sectors can thrive and this to the benefit of the society. These papers are being downloaded currently. That's why they are put there as hot 2025 papers. These are topics that interest our contributors. So these are past special issue. The global perspective of construction workforce, we actually publish, it's a special issue that's supposed to publish just 6 papers. We ended up having 2 issues out of it. Issue 2 and issue 3 of 2025 because of the interest that it generated. And the issue really documents from Asia to UK and Africa how mentorship or apprenticeship is being done in order for us to have a good pipeline of workers at different levels in the construction industry going into the future. We have also published a special issue on safety before construction and international safety. These 2 special issues were in the last 24 months. So they are very, very, very recent. Then we have special issue of circular construction. It is very, very recent as well. Then the construction law quarterly that I mentioned is written by professionals, practitioners in the industry for the industry. It is free, it is open access. That we break down, it is devoid of any academic, let me use that word, academic language that can be difficult to understand. And CLQ can be used as foundation to any study in construction law, any topic that is there. So one of our pillar is the impact of the papers that we publish. The impact of the papers that we publish. We want our papers to have policy and industry impact, or policy or industry impact. So our research contribution is not just academic. They are always informed by real-world practice. So most of the papers published in Management, Procurement and Law are research informed, problem informed, based on problem informed research. For example, VR paper that won the award, VR safety modeling, how it influenced tunneling inspection protocols and help promote safety. It's very, very important because it impacts the industry in tunneling. So many examples I can share with some of our other papers. So our papers also brings policymakers, practitioners, and scholars together. You can pick any of the articles there, and you see the lineup of the authorship. You find somebody working for a government, somebody that is a consultant or working for a contractor, and the academic coming together to solve a real world problem or propose solution to a challenge that we are facing. Then we also have encouraged and we have papers that support infrastructure policies of government. That's why some of our papers are cited in policy and government reports. For example, the paper by Simon Smith that won the award, we find some of what he said, we find expression in government reports in Scotland. So also our paper, because some of the majority of our authors are academics, they should also have scholarship impact. So these are the things that thankfully we have a good editorial panel that we really emphasize in the journal, and it helps us to stand at the intersection of theory and application, or intersection of theory and practice in what we do when deciding to move a paper, a submission forward or not. So we have metrics. I know some of us want to know the metrics. The IF is 1.1. For 5 years, it is 1.4. And the site score is 2.4. The acceptance rate is 38% in the last 12 months. Since I've been EIC, I think we have tried to ensure we encourage submissions and we address. Luckily, on the ICE database, we have a lot of experts, both practitioners and academics, to ensure that the peer review is rigorous, can add value, not just to the journal, but add value even to the authors. So that is our acceptance for the past 12 months. Then we also work on what is called the time to first decision. Our time to first decision currently is about 60 to 7 days, 60 to 70 days. But we all, as a panel, the editorial board, we work to reduce it. So if a submission, for example, is very, very good, and all the 3 reviewers or thereabout come out in support of that submission, we have submission to acceptance of less than a month, 23 days. That we have done several times, but there are some papers that have to go through several iterations before, in terms of reviewer checking, associate editor checking them before they are finally accepted. And what I needed to mention also is we can see clearly that Management, Procurement and Law is running towards a Q2 journal. We are almost there, all but in it. We are working on it as editorial board. We discuss it. Currently, we are in Q3. We discuss it in our meetings, and in the not too distant future, we will be there. So I think I needed to talk about our pathway, our vision. as a journal looking ahead. We want to have stronger interdisciplinary research. Why? Because we believe that most of the problems we seek to solve, especially in the construction industry, in the architecture, engineering, and construction sector, cannot be solved by one lens. So we are pragmatic in encouraging, not that we don't accept other form of research, but we intentionally encourage interdisciplinary research. And our priority in the last couple of months or years has been on topics that connect management, technology, and sustainability, from digital platforms and AI-driven analytics to other things that are making difference in the society and in the industry currently. We have quite a number of contributions from different parts of the world, but we want to encourage submissions from underrepresented regions like in some part of Asia as well as Oceania. Then we want to expand the policy and industry impact of what we publish. We want to expand the scope beyond our traditional areas of finding some of our papers cited or used, either in Europe or the Middle East. We want it to be used also in Singapore, Malaysia, and other countries. And we aim to support our contributors, either as if they come to us, join and support the journal as contributors, authors, reviewers. We aim to support them as best as we can. And we also encourage cross-border partnership in publication and in submission. Those are some of the things that we do. Then at this junction, I also must flag our upcoming special issue. And this, I believe some of the delegates in this call can explore. We have a current special issue call on artificial intelligence and the future of projects in construction. It's deliberately worded for it to be broad enough to cover design of a project to construction and commissioning, but at the same time, focus enough for you to know that any submission must have an element of AI in it and must have an element of projects. So it is not an office-based special issue we are looking at, but we are looking at a special issue that focuses on what goes on the site, on ground. So I will not be doing justice if I don't give one or two tips for authors that may be considering submissions to us. We want to encourage all these are available on the journal website that you are looking at on your screen. Follow the author guidelines strictly and correctly so that by the time your submission is screened before you even get to us, it can go through, because if you don't follow the template and the guidelines, the staff and the system will automatically give you feedback that will require you to rework your submission. Then we as a panel, the editorial board, look at novelty. What is new in what you want to publish? We also look at clarity and rigor, especially if the paper is coming from scholars. So we want to look at clarity and rigor. Whether the paper is industry-led or led by somebody in academia, we want you to target policy improvement, policy revision, or industry impact. Or you want to change a method of procurement or a method of the work on site. Then we want to see you cite topical emerging sources. Those are 4 things that I think there are tips for authors that may want to submit to us. Once you have this, it is not a guarantee of acceptance, but it's a guarantee that your paper will go through the peer review process for improvement purposes. So as we begin to round up, Management, Procurement and Law, published by Emuze, is a growing global journal. It's a CIB encouraged journal that is now global in terms of publication, in terms of editorial outlook. So we encourage every one of us on the call to spread the word and also to submit to us. I will also encourage anyone that may want to assist us beyond submission and publication. If you want to become a reviewer, you are welcome. If you want to help us on the panel, you are also welcome. But the journal necessarily and intentionally focuses on practice and policy relevant research because we believe that's where value comes from. If you write an article and it is laden heavy in statistics or heavy in other technology input, and you don't tell us the change or the impact that it's going to do, then the value becomes problematic to explain, even to the practitioner that reads the journal. So we welcome all contributions for a better architecture, engineering, and construction industry and the society. So I want to use this opportunity to thank you for your time and engagement on this call. I want to also extend my gratitude to the Emirate Publishing Southeast Asia and everyone that made this call possible. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So thanks for the Professor Emuze, such an excellent presentation. So now I am going to pass the floor to Rosita. She's going to handling the Q&A session.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Prof. Emuze, for the insightful presentation. So, of course, there are a lot of questions posed by the attendees. So the first one is from Prof. Agarwal from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. And he said he teaches a popular course, Legal and Regulatory Issues in Infrastructure. He's a lawyer and studied at the Harvard Law School. He would like to know your thoughts about dispute resolution, especially arbitration in construction and procurement.
Thank you very much. While I am not an expert in that area, we publish in that area and also, of course, it's part of construction management. My thought is very simple. If you have, you must firstly start with your contract. You use contract to transfer risk, and you must avoid dispute as much as possible. But if they issue, then arbitration is better off than to go through the courts. Now you have different kind of arbitration and how it is done. But I will refer you to a recent construction law quarterly CAQ that we published, I think, early this year, that looks at arbitration, how it should be done. So yes, I support having arbitration and mediation before we go to the court, because at the end of the day, even though you're a lawyer, if the lawyer wins, the contractors, they don't win all the time because you spend money. All right. Thank you very much for that question.
Thank you. And also under international publication guidelines, is it permissible to publish real court case analysis? Should the parties be identified by name or presented anonymously? For instance, if readers need to understand which government agency was involved in a dispute with the public, they may be able to infer the agency even if it's not explicitly named. may I describe the actual scenario, specify which clauses of the Local Government Act were breached, and include recommendations? In short, is it acceptable to publish the case while clearly indicating the government agency concerned?
Thank you very much. Not the entire Emirate, ATIC, and IC journals were part of COPE, which is a governing committee for ethical publishing. We would not want any publication that will harm any entity. So in this case, if you want to publish to share with others, especially lesson length, it will have to go through the anonymous route, and also the people concerned has to know. Especially if they may have vested interest in seeing that no party is casted in a negative light. So this is a very, we abide by the COPE guidelines when it comes to these things like this. We will not want people to be unnecessarily labeled through the publication. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Next one, can you further provide information about international trade law publication?
Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a construction manager, but within what we have published, we have I'm trying to recall, yes, on the panel we have got quite a number of people in constitutional law. They have published in CLQ things that has to do with constitutional law. Let me emphasize it, constitutional law, not trade law, constitutional law.
Okay. Yeah. So construction law, not trade law. Yeah. How can we manage the construction and demolition waste effectively?
Many ways. That is a constitutional management issue. You can start even from construction. When you design waste out of the process, you look at consultability issues. Incidentally, a course that I'm teaching here in the university will help you to know how to avoid physical waste on site. Then you also have to, when on site, inevitably you have some waste, you have to think about logistics.
Right. And how can, now talking about libraries, how can smart libraries support transparent and efficient procurement processes through, through institutions?
Yeah.
Yep. And also there's a question on trends in issues that exist in the field of legal communication research. So there's a lot of questions on legal.
Yes. Yeah. But I like I said, the best way for me to be specific is I'm referring, and they are all free, to Constitutional Law Quarterly that we publish 4 times in a year. We publish it from our issues, and you'll find things that has to do with constitutional law on it. But I don't want to be specific because I don't want anyone to say he's not a lawyer, but he's not telling us what to do.
Yeah. Yep. Next one, talk about AI. How can management, procurement, and legal teams collaborate more effectively to manage risk and compliance through artificial intelligence?
This is very good question. If I have answer, I will not be calling for the special issue on AI. Yes, but I think the first thing is transparency about what AI can do and how to use it, the ethical use of AI, and how it shouldn't be used amongst the team. All right, but as far as I'm concerned, AI should be used collaboratively. It cannot replace us. And it should be used to improve our design processes, our construction processes. And if you recall, now we are going to a classroom. There are few things that move in every construction project. It is information and materials. So AI can be used to better how we share information between project parties, either designers or consultants. But they can still not replace us.
Yeah. Be our co-pilot. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yep. Next one. How do you procure novel equipment for research and development?
Yeah, you can procure novel equipment for research and development by applying for grants, looking at the luckily I've been recipient of multiple grants, looking at the call and the agencies and tailoring your proposals to that. And of course, when the grant is given, buying the right equipment for the research. So that is a straightforward answer.
Right. And now is on green procurement. How can you share how green procurement policies are being adopted by organizations and governments? What challenges and opportunities do they create?
Okay. There are barriers. I have to be very honest. I spent 2 weeks at the International Training Center of the ILO, International Labour Organization in Turin, Italy, on green procurement. There are challenges, and some of the challenges has to do with having uh, the policies implemented. All right. The government can come up with policy. I'll give you a very good example because I was sent to that training from South Africa several years ago, I think about 11 years ago. And we have policies, but when it comes to the guidelines for procurement and what has to be done on ground, green element is not featuring. So there are challenges that we must overcome. So it's not just to have them legislated, but somebody must implement them and see them through in terms of implementation. And you remember something that is very, very cardinal. I'm looking at our time as well. Construction is a demand-driven industry. If the client wants a green building, for example, the client is going to get a green building. But if the client feels that green building comes at a premium, then he's going to go for the traditional way of doing things. So that is my answer to you. It cannot just be on paper. We must implement it when we are procuring infrastructure.
Yeah. How on the novelty of research, yeah, how to determine the novelty of research and manuscript acceptance by editors?
It's very easy. It's very easy. One, your research, that building blocks, your research is building on a particular knowledge. I want to see if you are not extending practice or you are extending through theory or you are extending through methodology. It will be clear from your section 3 what you are extending. In fact, when we look at your question you try to answer in the article, we can see if what you are extending is correct or you are merely repeating what somebody has done before.
Nice. And yeah, so from your perspective as an editor-in-chief, what research teams in management, procurement, and law are most underexplored, yet urgent for industry and policymakers to address in the next 12 to 18 months?
Number one is artificial intelligence. That's why we decided to do that call in project aspect. We want to say it. It is underexplored. We don't have any special issue on it, and we have limited papers on it. So we want to see that please help us make contribution. You can make the submission even today.
Yeah, so we've got another 5 minutes and probably a few more questions before we end the session. You are also on lean construction. So lean construction often centers on value and waste. Where do you see the biggest misconception about waste in contemporary project, and what legal procurement levers actually help or hinder lean adoption?
Well, Lane, thank you very much for that question. My first book was on value and waste in lean construction. We need to understand the concept that non-value added activities, which we call waste, they are everywhere from design to procurement and construction. And what are non-value added activities? What you do repeatedly that the client does not pay for. So what you are doing, if for example, you just need to have a QA, quality assurance in what you do. You need to pour concrete. You do it once, you get it right once. If you now require QC to get it done, meaning you require somebody to come and inspect you several times, that is a waste. Because it should be done right first time. So I'm just giving you at the top the principles of lean.
Yeah, so talk about health and safety. You have led extensive work on construction health, safety, and well-being, including in developing country contexts. What has been the best evidence for reducing serious incidents on sites with limited resources?
You and I, people. That's why we must continue to train people, especially in developing countries. It is the supervisors and the engineers on ground that will spot hazard, spot risk, and prevent it. And in some of the articles we've written, you can actually change the entire site without buying the technology, and you keep everybody safe if the engineer or the construction manager is an health and safety savvy leader on site. It is you and I.
Yeah, so true. TWI, Training Within Industry programs, shows a promise for safety culture. What advice do you have about scaling TWI across multi-tier supply chain where subcontractor turnover is high?
Yes. I won't say sadly, but it's the nature of construction. Subcontracting is very, very high. But at the onboarding stage, when you are getting everybody on site, if they sign up to lean construction, even when you are doing your just ordinary Gemba work, you can begin to emphasize the need to train them, job training and other things, element of TWI can be introduced into it gradually.
Right. Maybe last two questions here, Prof. If this is on submissions, if you could advise early career researchers submitting to management, procurement, and law, what methodological standards, data transparency, causal identification, implementation detail are you most eager to see?
Well, we are more important. We want to see implementation. I want to see the methodology as well. The empirical research, how it was conducted, and possible implementation. Even if it's a conceptual, the model or framework, we want to see the potential that it has, whether it has been tested or it has potential to be tested. Our time is up. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah. So 1 more minute, just do the closing. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and a very special thank you to you, Professor Fidelis Emuze, the Editor-in-Chief of Management, Procurement and Law, for sharing such valuable insights with us. And thank you also to Dr. Rahimi for his contributions as well, and Amy for the opening and the introduction. And before we close, we'd like to remind all participants that the journal is currently inviting submissions for its upcoming special issue on AI and the future of projects in construction. So this is an excellent opportunity to contribute to the growing body of knowledge on these important topics. So we encourage you to take part, submit your papers, and share this call for papers with your peers as well. So once again, thank you for your active participation, and we look forward to seeing your contributions in management, procurement, and law. So thank you, everyone, and hope to see you again in our future webinars. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.